Here she comes, Sally Firth! Big hand!
Hello. It's lovely to see so many people coming to see me do my Help the Aged comedy challenge. That's a joke, actually. I'm not meant to be here at all. My son's a stand-up comedian, but he couldn't make it tonight. He's got food poisoning. Now, I know how hard it is to get someone to stand in at the last minute, so I thought I'd take his place. I've got a lot of time on my hands since the Samaritans asked me to leave. I did try adult education, but words cannot describe the humiliation that was life drawing for beginners. I know they say a bad workman blames his tools, but there are some images not even a 6B pencil can capture. After that, I had a brief foray into politics. I formed my own party, the Rice-Lip Reactionaries, and I stood against Boris Johnson in the election last year. He's done well, hasn't he? And then there was the first aid training, but I can't talk about that till after the court case. Anyway, I've got Johnny's notebook and I'm going to do his act. The first thing he's written is virginity. Well, as he's not here, I think I can tell you, he was quite late losing his virginity. He had terrible acne when he was a teenager, you see, and I think it put the girls off. They couldn't see past it. So eventually my husband and I took him to our doctor, who prescribed these fantastic tablets, and they cleared Johnny's skin up just in time for him to go to Magaluf with his friends after the A-levels, and I gather that he made up for lost time. But then he had to visit another doctor when he got back. He wasn't laughing. Now, you seem lovely, so I'm going to share something else with you, something a bit personal. I was a bit of a late starter sexually. I was 20. That's because I wanted the first one to be special, and he was. He had special requirements. By that I mean he could only become aroused if we made love outside, and I didn't mind that. I'm quite broad-minded, but we were going out in November, so it wasn't ideal. The one after that, he liked to cover me in baby oil while watching videos of 40 Towers. I was fine with that too until he asked me to dress up as Manuel. I thought that was a step too far. My next boyfriend was a masochist and he begged me to hurt him, so I slept with his best friend. He wasn't laughing. He said that wasn't what he meant, so I tried to think of something else. I waited till he'd videoed the whole of the Japanese Grand Prix, and then just as he sat down to watch it, I told him who'd won. Another reason I didn't have sex when I was a teenager was my mother said to me, below the waist is your own, keep it to yourself. And now she might have been suggesting I play with myself, but I don't think she was. Something else she told me was the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. In my experience, though, if you go down about 6 inches, it's a lot quicker, more effective, and you don't have to stand up for so long. Something else she used to say, if she saw an ugly person walking down the road, was, well, he can't help what he looks like, but he could stay indoors. Right, this is the point. Apparently most comedians say, let me tell you a bit about myself, and you've been to comedy clubs, you know the drill. So my name's Sally, as I said, and I've been married to Roger for 26 years. Seems longer. Some of you may know that when you've been with the same partner for a long time, things can get a little stale in the sex department. But I was still quite upset when Roger said to me the other day, "You're boring in bed. Why don't you ever surprise me? Dress up or something." So the next day, when he got home from work, I did surprise him. I was wearing his mother's clothes. He wasn't laughing. wanted me to be a bit more like her, you see, but it didn't go down well. I think it was too soon after the funeral. Well, you're very kind to laugh, but some of you might think that was a bit unkind. The thing is, Roger's been doing a number of things recently that really irritate me, like waking up. Having said that, his snoring's horrific, so it's touch and go, which is preferable. I think about leaving him often, but he couldn't cope on his own. For instance, the other day I gave him a shopping list and I sent him off to the supermarket. He was gone for 2.5 hours, and when he got back, the car boot was filled with 100 bread rolls. I'd written loo rolls. Yes, I wasn't laughing. I then, of course, had to go back, get back in the car, go back to Tesco, do the shopping, and when I was there I needed to use the loo. I was very surprised to find that there was a condom machine in the ladies at Tesco. I know. You're surprised, aren't you? You thought I shopped at Waitrose. Now what else have we got here? Tinder. No idea what that is. Weed. Oh, I do know what that is. Though in my day we used to call it dope. Now, I don't smoke, I can't inhale, but I did have a boyfriend who gave me some dope in a cake once. I ate this cake, I went straight to sleep. When I woke up, my boyfriend was watching the Muppets on television, and he was roaring with laughter. I joined in, and that's when I knew I was high, because the Muppets are rubbish, aren't they? BJ. Well, when I first saw this, I thought Johnny meant Boris Johnson, because he doesn't like him. And then I thought it could be bungee jumping, because that's one of his hobbies, but then I realised what he meant. Now, I'm not too keen on this, but Roger is. So I will oblige occasionally, because I find afterwards he's much more willing to clean the oven. My friend Angela, she's divorced. She hasn't got anyone to clean her oven, sadly. But she has found that the way to get her jobs done around the house is to date somebody who's in the trade when she needs something done. So in the last year, she's had her whole house rewired because she was going out with an electrician. And then when she was going out with a plumber, she got a new boiler. And she's being, her car's being serviced at the moment because she's going out with a mechanic. And she brought one of her boyfriends home to meet her children. The first thing her daughter said to him was, "Are you going to be my new daddy?" Which was a bit awkward because Emily's 22 and Dean's probably about 30. So there was a bit of a stunned silence, I gather, and then her son came in with, "Well, if you are going to be my new daddy, you're going to have to speak with Tanya from the coffee shop, and then blow all your redundancy money on Harley Davidson." Angela showed me a photograph of part of one of her boyfriends. Must say, it didn't make me want to see the rest of him. Call me old-fashioned, but when I was young, if a man waved his willy at you, you got the police involved. He was called a flasher, but I know times have changed. Something else that's changed is, apparently, Angela says, how quickly men expect you to sleep with them these days. On the third date, apparently. Now, when I was young, the furthest I'd go on a third date is letting a boy try and unhook my bra. But if he did succeed, it was generally disappointment to both of us. Yes, what else have we got here? Sex, it says. Well, Roger's like a lot of men, I suppose. He thinks about sex when he's doing something else. I, on the other hand, think about somebody else when I'm having sex with Roger. It's generally George Clooney, he's my favourite. Sometimes it's Brad Pitt, but most recently it was Simon Cowell. I know. Now, in my defence, it was completely involuntary. I put it down to the combination of a dodgy curry and a particularly horrible episode of The X Factor. Now, Roger, I try my best not to overstimulate him. And to that end, I only serve decaffeinated coffee in the evenings as a precaution. But if I really want to dampen his ardour, I replace his Viagra with laxatives. He'll thank me for it one day. And lastly we've got anal. Well, I am quite anal. I can't drink coffee out of a mug marked tea. I can't eat an after 8 mint before 8 o'clock at night. And last week I had a panic attack in Tesco's because when I got to the checkout all I had was Sainsbury's bags. Now, this OCD's been getting me down quite a bit, and it's obviously been bothering Johnny or he wouldn't have written in his notebook, would he? So I'll have to have a word with him about it when I get home. And talking about going out, I think it's time I went. Before I go, I better tell you this, Johnny doesn't actually know that I'm here. I left him throwing up in the bathroom. At least I think he was throwing up. Could have been doing something else. And I rushed in his bedroom, grabbed his notebook and ran off with it. So if you come back next month, is it, Dan? Whenever the next comedy club is, and if Johnny's then performing, don't let him know that you saw me. Let it be our little secret. And, oh yes, I think Roger's finished cleaning the oven by now, so I can go home. It's all clear. You've been a lovely audience. I'm Sally Firth. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sally. I've seen a lot of couples here tonight. Look.